Hi, this is Kasian, and it's time for a weekly conference call at VectorspaceAI. We'll start with what's happening around the world. Distribution of the vaccine is in full swing, almost globally. Dry ice and LEDs are in short supply. LED lighting is being used to combat the coronavirus. Global financial markets are largely unchanged. That's what everyone is observing right now. There's still a lot of momentum, but the upward swings have been muted. U.S. Treasury departments and other government agencies have been hacked. This has been happening over the last 48 hours related to SolarWinds, which is a software package that installs other pieces of software across other networks and machines. On the industry side, including Datasets, AI, ML, NLP, NLU, and crypto. We'll combine them all this week. First, we've got Snowflake. This is a data company that started its own venture investment firm and is now investing in small AI and data companies, with Databricks being one of them, to the tune of a $50 million investment. Palantir is also making new highs, and we bring up this company because we know them very well. They know us, and we do compete on some levels, and we'll talk about that later. It's more of a co-opetition than anything else. And then when we look at some of the traditional names out there, like ARK Investments. ARK Investments, you might not even call too traditional in terms of an investment firm. They started in the traditionals, but they're moving into crypto. And they are calling a $500,000 ceiling on crypto target on BTC. So that's based on what they're observing in terms of institutional movement into BTC. And this isn't the only investment firm that's making these observations. Meanwhile, we're just going to sit here and call BTC at 20K and say that's on deck, and then ETH 700's on deck. And then we'll move on to our new section, themes and events. This connects to what we were just talking about. AstraZeneca has decided to purchase Alexion. These are two big pharmaceutical companies, one of the biggest in the world. And this deal was valued at over $30 billion, and Alexion's price jumped. This was announced Saturday morning at around 5 a.m. And today it's Monday, and at the open, we decided to publish a thematic basket related to this event. And we'll be observing the historical performance and publishing those as the days go along here. But we do expect it to do well. This is a thematic basket related to the event, the M&A event of AstraZeneca's purchase of Alexion Pharmaceuticals. And then we've got another theme, another global event. The global event was this Treasury Department hack. And this wasn't just across a couple of agencies. This spans companies around the world. There's a large list of companies. You can look it up. And these are all household names. So it's definitely something to keep your eyes on, because it connects, obviously, to cryptocurrency, and it also connects to cybersecurity, which is the main overarching basket theme here. And we expect, as we've mentioned in past calls, cybersecurity is going to be ongoing, not just a overarching theme, but it will result in subcategories or subtopics or additional themes, branched thematic baskets of trading vehicles, stocks and crypto related to cybersecurity. You could just trade the cybersecurity basket alone, but as we've mentioned in some of our channels, it's always better to extract alpha by filtering that basket. Filtering it according to your criteria, your own proprietary criteria. And we'll move on to what's happening on the corporate side, which is just steady as she goes. We've got lots of lots of gears and plates spinning at the same time, and they all need to be kept at the same speed, so to speak. So that's ongoing. On engineering, product, and ops, as mentioned last week, we are focused. And we are focused on Cloud Quant and New Data and S&P Global. We are also looking at BlackRock. And the reason for that is that BlackRock decided to come to us through New Data. When we registered with New Data, and New Data provides data sets to hedge funds and asset management companies around the world, over 200 of them, we chose actually not to go to larger companies and companies that we had been to before, and BlackRock was one of them. As some of you might remember, we were talking with BlackRock about a year and a half ago, and that was because one of our teammates recommended a contact over there, but this contact was nowhere near data engineering. So we waited, and now we are talking with someone inside BlackRock in their data engineering department, and this is exactly who we need to be talking to about our data sets. So we've had one call with them, and we have sent them information related to who we are and the background on our data sets. And during our call, they found our data sets to be unique, which is good, and something that they want to take a closer look at. So we'll keep the company updated on that relationship. That's not the only relationship we're going to have with large asset management companies as the days go by. We have other calls scheduled, and this results from New Data's network, other calls scheduled with a few other asset managers this week and hedge funds. And we'll keep everyone updated on how all of those meetings go. But so far, no one has turned us down. Everyone likes what we have, mainly because they've never seen anything like it before. Moving on to the sales and marketing side. So sales and marketing is throttling here. We're not talking to any new large customers outside of Cloud Quant and outside of New Data and its customers and outside of BlackRock at this point. That is enough for our engineering team to handle right now as we try and smartly scale. On the customers, partners, and collaborators side. So a little bit more on BlackRock. We were talking with them about a year and a half ago, and that was based on a relationship with one of our team members here. But it was also based on a relationship with a company we initially reached out to in our early days called Bitvor. And Bitvor was a company that provided news data to just about every financial information provider out there. And they also provided news data to companies like BlackRock. And at any rate, we put that relationship on hold. It was a very slow path to any kind of consequential revenue. But here we are, talking with New Data, BlackRock, and Cloud Quant, and S&P Global. And in terms of customers, partners, and collaborators, we've also got CERN. And this is what we're going to focus on. This takes us all the way into the end of Q1 next year. So the reason for that is you've got to remember we've got customers under New Data, hundreds of them. And we've also got customers under Cloud Quant, 400,000 potential customers. Most of them are individual traders. There is a large portion that are hedge funds and asset management companies. And then we've got S&P Global. And what we're doing with S&P Global is going to attract an entirely new customer base, and much more than New Data, obviously. So we have to be ready for that, and we're timing it right. In terms of exchanges, we are now listed on CoinMetro, as we had mentioned, and we'll be doing an AMA this Wednesday with CoinMetro, so that's something to look forward to. And we have not reached out to Kraken, but we will reach out to a few exchanges, a few more top-tier exchanges. And we're making sure that these exchanges are clean and run smartly and are scam-free as much as possible. We're not interested in any roach motels on either side. On the IR, PR, and Marcom side, again, we have a focus here, and our focus is CloudQuant, NuData and their customers, and S&P Global. This means that we are going to be, well, I should not say we are going to be, this is CloudQuant. CloudQuant is going to be announcing to the public and describing our relationship with them and what we're going to be doing in terms of providing data sets and the VXV utility token along with the wallet-enabled API so that their customers can access these data sets. And this is going to be the first in a series of PRs. And this means that we're going to be announcing every time we issue a new data set, every time CloudQuant receives a new data set from us, that is a new PR. And we have hundreds of billions of data sets. And of course, any messaging related to the CloudQuant PR will be magnified. We have the questions from the trader base section, and we have it empty with the exception of one question here. What we're going to do is we're going to separate the question section this week because we haven't fully collected all questions. It's been a busy week on the channels, and we still have some question submissions that we need to collect. But for now, we can answer one question that's popped up multiple times, and that is related to Palantir and our similarities to Palantir. People have asked, well, what are the similarities? Why do we consider them a competitor? Well, it goes back to the time that we spent at Berkeley Lab developing relationship networks. These relationship networks were used to determine what kind of relationship two entities had with one another, how strong that relationship was, and in what context that relationship was, so that hidden relationships could be uncovered too, as was popular back then and still is now, to connect the dots between entities and people and people and people. And companies before Palantir existed, there were companies like ClearForest and other companies that specialized in entity tracking and managing relationships between entities. It was largely a manual process, and NLP was largely non-existent and not statistical. There weren't too many probabilistic or statistical approaches with NLP. It was mainly based on words and rules. So NLP didn't help very much. But today, with deep learning and other approaches related to NLU, you've got companies like Palantir that have taken over some of our work at Berkeley Lab, where we received the patent with Berkeley Lab to do relationship networking. All of that was done for U.S. government agencies, and we went on to move into the more industry or more private space by starting companies and licensing the patent. So relationship networking and understanding how graphs, nodes, and edges work, and how you can collect enough data, create metadata, triangulate data, and extract hidden relationships. That is the core of what Palantir initially started doing. And one of the differences is that we do service a different sector of customers. Some of our customers will intersect, but we also consider Palantir a customer. They're not a customer today, but a potential customer in that they are hungry for data sets, just like any company utilizing or with the goal of extracting relationships between objects. You need data, and you need to construct data sets to make that work. on a supervised or unsupervised level. So there are more similarities. We can talk about that later. We don't want to spend too much time on that. And it's likely that you could just consider it a relationship based on co-opetition, if anything else. Moving on to the strategy section, I have a note here that says focus. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're not going to be exploring too many strategies or being too creative with our strategies. We are going to focus. And that would mean focus on quickest path to revenue and, of course, maximizing our messaging, but also maximizing our value as a company. And the reason we can do that is because we have something very valuable to offer to the world, not just in the financial markets, but in every industry. And we need to show the world how valuable what we have really is. And that's going to happen by the public markets and the public in general setting a valuation on this company. And that would include other institutions and entire industries setting a valuation on this company. One of the reasons we'd like the public to set a valuation on this company is based on the fact that we're targeting a market that is larger than Google's. And questions came up when we mentioned this. And we see a very simple explanation. We see a very simple rationale here. And that would be that originally Google offered keyword search to the world, wanted to organize the world's information and didn't want to be evil and so forth. And it was all about search. It was all about searching using keywords. It was all about humans searching for data. In the future, there will be more machines searching for data than there will be humans searching for data. That's the market we're addressing. Machines, when they search for data, when they're hungry for data, when they want to eat data, they do it with data sets. And that's why we're here.